Hi guys, thank you for tuning back into my channel. Today I'm going to teach you how I made these cosplay angel wings out of a lightweight styrofoam, the same kind of styrofoam that you use underneath wooden flooring. Started off with a 10 gauge wire frame. I made a 6x6 square at the bottom. I'm assuming I'll put that on my back. And I gave myself 3 foot of wire for the wings. When I started looking at it again, I was afraid that the wire wouldn't be strong enough, so I went back in and added more wire. Then I decided to tape it, thinking that would give strength, and I added 2 pieces of PVC and shortened the wings just a tiny bit because I felt like I was overkill on the wings. Then I wrapped everything, including the PVC, again with the tape, and ultimately it should have been white tape. So I took it outside and sprayed everything white. Once I got it sprayed white and brought it back in, I still felt like the wings were too long, so I folded the bottom up and then added 2 more pieces of wire just to give sturdiness underneath. The main thing about making the structure sturdy is that it won't fall apart. So I've got everything painted and extra security wires in between. Then I cut 2 pieces of wire about 3 foot each. I'm sorry, it was ribbon, 1-inch satin ribbon, and I wrapped it through the back under those wires and out the top. So I wanted to be able to wear this like a backpack. Okay, now I'm going to take the glue gun and I'm going to adhere the ribbon to the PVC, and down here at the bottom just make sure it's glued on good to where it's not going to slip around when I go to put the wings on. So now everything's secure. I'll glue this up in here, make sure that the ribbon's going to come right off the shoulder the right way. Glued it, secured it, and glued it on the back. So now we are ready to put the base down for the wings. Okay, this lightweight styrofoam comes in a roll. You can buy it at any home improvement store, also on Amazon. It's cheaper on Amazon. It's a 2mm thickness of styrofoam. So I rolled it out on my floor and sat my frame on top of it. It was the perfect size to go all the way across. I cut out what I felt like was a good size wing, gave myself enough room around the edges of the wing wire that I could glue the pieces together. So I did fold it in half to make sure that the wings were symmetrical. And when I got done cutting out 1 full set of wings, I laid it back down on the paper again and cut out another full size of wings. So what I'm going to do is put it over my frame and glue it together. So there's a picture of the half wings and there's a picture of the whole wing. It's just hard to see on that floor, I'm sorry. Then I set it back on top of the roll and copied that pattern exactly. Next, I cut some strips also out of the styrofoam. Then I glued the strips and just went round and round on the frame because I was afraid that the styrofoam would not adhere to the wire because I had painted it. So I figured that the styrofoam would adhere better to itself. So I wrapped the entire frame in little strips of styrofoam. And here it is again, wrapped up completely in styrofoam. And I even wrapped the frame like a little package, and actually it gave it a lot more sturdiness. Then I laid my frame on top of 1 piece of wings and laid the other piece on top. Then I glued all the edges, so now I have a complete little package all the way around the frame. In this segment, I am cutting and wrapping so that the straps for the little backpack do not get caught up in the styrofoam. So when the whole it's actually just like wrapping a Christmas package, just gluing it all down and together. Now I've got a pretty sturdy frame with 2 solid pieces of the styrofoam ready to glue feathers. And there's a picture of the finished product. Not completely finished, but ready for feathers. Next, I took my roll and I had my 16-inch measurement there, and I cut 16 inches all the way across, and then I cut them into 4-inch segments because I figured I didn't want feathers that were any bigger than 4 inches. Here I show you how to cut the feathers. Just make little notches in it to kind of make it look like a feather. The more notches, the more realistic it looks as it's moving around on the frame. This is the most time-consuming part, is each feather has to be cut. Like I said, the more notches you put in it, the more it freely moves and looks just like a feather. I started with 16-inch length for the bottom, then I went to 10-inch, 8-inch, 6-inch, and then eventually 3-inch. But I also got smart because the styrofoam is very flexible and you can cut several pieces at one time. Then I took out my heat gun, just quickly go over it in the center there to get it hot, and then I laid it over a pen or a pencil to give it a ridge. It also makes the little edges that you just notched look like a ridge in a feather. There's the flat ones, you can see the difference. The ridge makes it, look a little more natural. So each one just a second or two over that heat gun, and then put it over a pencil until it cools, and then it gives you some movement and some flexibility. Also looks more like a feather. Then I started with the bottom feathers, the 16-inch on the very bottom first, and started layering up. Did the 12-inch, the 10-inch, the 8-inch, all the way up to the small. Okay, now I've gone smaller and smaller and smaller to the top of these wings, and I just glued the edges to the top, and to make sure that these edges go past the wings, so the back side of it looks like that. And once I get this completely done, I'm gonna have feathers going this way to top it off. This one I'm just starting to put the smaller feathers on, but I do see a couple of holes, like there's one here that I can add another feather. And this is how much I've got left out of 100 square feet. So I've got another roll ready. We have finished product. I used a little over 100 square feet of styrofoam, and the whole thing probably weighs about 5 pounds maybe. It's very easy to wear, and you just put it on your shoulders like a backpack. Thank you so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time.